Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you all. Those of you that are driving, stay focused. I will have a slide deck, but the most important part is what I'm going to be saying since this is scripting Friday. So don't worry too much about seeing what's on my screen. But today, I promised last week that we would do a deeper dive on express offers, which is EXP's cash offer system. So I want to give you some tools, some scripts, and really some guidance on how I use it. Because to be really blunt with you, I don't close many with them, but I use it on almost every listing presentation to drive the seller into my arms for the listing. So, as you guys probably have experienced, a lot of sellers they see the Zillow Zestimate and then they think, oh, if I could do that and not have to deal with showings and pictures and all the crap, that would be great. And so they think every investor is going to pay them market value. We all know that no investor pays market value, right? That's not what investing in real estate is all about. It's about making money. So one of the scripts that I use a lot to explain that to people, and I'm just sharing this because it's scripting Friday. I don't say this in the context that we're going to cover today, but I do say this when it comes up. Hey, real estate investors are for profit, right? And what I found is the most typical approach that investors use is about 70% of market value. And the reason for that is they want 10% set aside for repairs, 10% set aside for closing costs and commissions, and then 10% profit. So that's kind of how they typically end up at about 70 cents on the dollar. And that's a dialogue that'll work well if you've got somebody that's maybe leaning towards listing and you want to kind of nudge them that direction. Because in the end, people want the most money they can get, right? So anyway, let's dive in and I will cover all the dialogues that I use when promoting this. If my I always do that. Screens. So I always forget and it starts projecting over there. Okay, so scripting Friday, you get that. So when I'm talking to sellers, I'm always explaining how there's three ways that I can sell their home, right? I can bring you a cash offer tomorrow. I can sell your home as is on the market, or I can sell your home with our moving concierge product, is what I call the Curbio program, right? Where we will remodel your home with our money and you keep the profit. And they go, oh, that sounds cool, right? The other dialogue that you'll use in that sort of and at the beginning of these conversations is think of it like this. These three approaches are a continuum of price, but they're also an opposite continuum of convenience, right? So the cash offer might be the lowest price, but it's the most convenient. The as is sale might be more convenient or more money, but it's not as convenient because now you're accommodating showings. And then the as repaired is the least convenient, but it's the most money. So when you get people to kind of understand that there are these two intersecting continuums, they can decide, is the convenience worth the money that they're leaving on the table? And I've literally had clients or prospects, I should say, they're not clients yet, say, well, but which approach do I get you with, Ed? And I go, I got bad news. I come with all three, right? And that's the beauty of this approach is now when I'm talking to somebody, they don't have to talk to anybody else. They know they can get any solution they need from just me, right? So as you're demonstrating, and I always say this to brokers that I coach or on my team, I say, you're in every conversation, you're demonstrating character and competence, right? Well, by the time you get to this point, you've hopefully demonstrated enough character and competence that they don't want to talk to anyone else. And so when you point out to them, not only am I good at this, but I give you all options, they no longer are interviewing other brokers in most cases, right? Another thing to keep in mind is when you book these appointments, try and go last because then you remove the objection of, well, I can't sign with you today as much as I'd like to, but I can't because I've got two more interviews or one more interview or whatever, right? So anyway, back to the express offers deal. Well, the cash offer is the express offer in this uh, scenario, right? So what I do is as I'm communicating these three options, I have a spreadsheet. It's just a one-page spreadsheet. And this is just the top half of it on the screen, but I'll describe it so Allison and Rotasha don't crash. It's scenario number one is how much will your home sell for on a cash basis? But I also include how much prep time, what the list price would be, etc. Well, for the cash offer, there's no list price and no prep, right? And closing time frame is 10 days or as needed. I want to say or as needed because I don't want them to think, oh crap, I got to move in 10 days, right? I want them to know that I can close in as little as 10 days. But if they need more time, we can absolutely do that, right? We can even give them post-closing possession. So that way they get the money and they still have a place to live while they go and look for the next place to live, right? So we want to be as flexible as we can because to be blunt, that number is going to be disappointing, right? When they get 70% on the dollar, they're going to be like, oh man, I was hoping for 900 or whatever, right? Now, as is the second column, but that's as is on the market or on the MLS, right? So higher number, more prep time, scope of work. I'll put an estimate, if we're just doing a little bit of painting or landscaping or whatever, and then what we would list it for and what we would sell it for and how long it might take. Allison, you got a question I can definitely answer along the way.
Yeah, for the all cash quick close, are they allowed to leave furniture behind?
They are in my world. So it just depends on your willingness to do the work, right? It's also, and we're going to dig into who are the actual buyers, but it will also depend on which fund does the buying. So some of them are like, yeah, we'll pay a number based on you leaving all your crap. The number might go down because there's a cost of a trash out now, right?
Oh.
So I've even done deals where we paid their first deposit and security deposit at a new apartment. Like we have a lot more flexibility. It just still needs to pencil, right? So,
Mhm.
could it be a scenario where there's not enough money to do these things? Absolutely. It just depends on the scenario. But remember, when this is the initial conversation, you're not being a yes man necessarily, but you want to be encouraging and giving them hope. So if they're asking you these sorts of questions, you just want to say, "Oh yeah, we've done that before. I'll put that in my notes that that's important to you." And now they feel like, okay, she's going to go advocate for me with the hedge funds and hopefully get me some extra money to trash out my house or rent an apartment or whatever. Does that make sense? All right. And then just on the screen, the third scenario is the moving concierge program. So it's going to hopefully sell for a lot more. We can do a deep dive on, actually, we've already done a deep dive on moving concierge. So if you guys want to see that video, you can. But this is just to give them a snapshot in one page with a view of what we're doing. And on the lower half, I'm not going to bother with it today, but on the lower half of this spreadsheet is a list of the repairs that I'm recommending for both the as is on the MLS as well as the as repaired, right? And that's just so that they can go, oh, okay, I see what he's doing. The 200,000 that's on the screen for the as repaired. Well, what is that? Well, it was a kitchen and three bathrooms and whatever, right? So, so that's how I present it once they say, yeah, I'd like to see the numbers, because that's typically the flow, right? Once they realize that you're a one-stop shop, then they're going to say, well, I'm not sure which one I want to pursue until I know what the numbers are. And that's when I say, no problem. That makes perfect sense. All I need you to do is hire me. Once you hire me, I'll dive in and get you all these numbers, right? So I get a listing agreement signed on day one because they want me to get to work on their behalf, right? And know your local rules, know your state laws, etc. I'll just tell you what ours is, or ours are here in Washington. It's an MLS rule that says we have to list it, put it on the market within 30 days of signing the listing agreement. Well, if I'm doing a $300,000 rehab, I'm not going to be ready to list it in 30 days. So here's what you do: get them to sign the listing agreement on the first day so that they, in their mind, feel a sense of loyalty to you. They're not going to shop you once they sign, right? And just put TBD on the list date. And then when the work's finally done and it's 60 days down the road, circulate a new listing agreement, have them sign a new one. Now that we know the date, I'm going to send you an updated listing agreement. And they go, oh, okay. So it's not a big deal. Just know that you're going to sign two listing agreements. And the first one, you're probably not going to do anything with. We don't upload it to, SkySlope or any compliance department or anything. It's to get the seller to feel committed to me, even though I'm not going to use that listing agreement because it's going to be over 30 days, right? So we're going to focus today on that first column, right? Get a cash offer with 10 can close in as little as 10 days. I always say as little as 10 days again, so that they feel like, yeah, but if I want 2 or 3 weeks, is that okay? Of course it is. But if you need it faster, that's how fast we can do it, right? You can say 7 days. There are investors that you can work with that say they can close in 7 days, but a lot of title work can't be completed that quickly. So sometimes I'll say 7 to 10 days, and then that sort of fleshes out the seller who really wants their money like tomorrow. And you go, okay, well let's work towards getting you paid in a week, right? Uh, oh, good. You got Express Offer certified, Allison. I'm glad. Tamara said, do you know if Curbio plans on coming to Portland? I don't. But if you go into Workplace, you can ask in the Curbio page, when the hell are you coming, right? There's also multiple companies that do this same sort of service. I've had good success with Curbio. There's House Amp is another one. Allison, you want to share the name of the one you're thinking of? Oh, she might have gotten out of the car. All right. So,
Let me find it and
okay. Yeah, we're all about sharing here. So if you got a
yeah.
resource, that would be great. So here are the perks or the benefits of a cash offer and the reason why a seller might want to go for it, right? As is means no repairs, no showings, no photography, and can close in as little as 10 days. We just got a cash offer accepted last end of last week. So I mentioned at the beginning that I don't use them very often. I mention them every time, and then the seller usually decides they want more money. So I've probably submitted over 3 years 20 or 25 deals into the Express Offers platform, and I've only closed one. And this one that went pending last week will be my second one. And that's okay. Again, I'm using it to generate loyalty in the consumer and drive them into my arms for listing it because most people want more money. That's all, right? So don't be shy about leaning on this resource. Terrence Clark is the guy that runs it. He and I were texting on Tuesday or Wednesday about the recent one I just got pending. And he's literally like, what can I do to help you and your team pitch us on every deal? And I'm like, we already do. So they want us to lean on them and drive opportunities towards their investors, whether they close or not, which is great news for us because I don't want to feel like I'm abusing something, right? So keep that in the back of your mind. So how do we deliver on it? Well, you can have your own investors, right? You don't have to use express offers. If you can use your own money if you want to be the investor. But if you use express offers, here's how I pitch it to people. I go, I can bring you a cash offer tomorrow if you'd like. And they go, really? And I go, yeah, we have a marketplace of hedge funds, and I will get them to bid against each other for your house. And they go, holy crap, right? What goes through their head when they hear that? They think, oh, I'm going to get full market value, right? So, step one for you guys, and Allison checked this box yesterday, is to get certified with express offers. It's not hard. If I remember my experience, it took me like 10 or 12 hours. Is it about the same still, Allison, or did you do it faster?
No, it was probably 6 hours,
6 hours.
maybe
So
less, maybe less.
over a couple nights or one weekend day or whatever, get certified so that you have this arrow in your quiver, right? Because you're going to want to use it as part of your everyday dialogues when you're talking to sellers.
Also, they have a box at the end after you fill out information about yourself. You fill out your zip codes, and it says, "Are you interested in the beta testing of taking the express offer leads that they generate?"
Yeah,
So
that's an absolute awesome new development, right?
yeah, so obviously I
So
checked yes.
so not only is it helping you convert your own leads, but they'll give you leads. You know, Curbio does that too. I closed a deal that Curbio referred to me.
Oh,
So a lot of these partnerships that EXP arranges for us are all about reciprocity, really, not just
yeah, and there's a dedicated couple of people at EXP that's in charge of express offers that you can call.
totally. Free Model is the company. So grab that out of the chat and just hang on to it because you're going to want to have these resources. All right. So,
Model
oh,
came out like within 24 hours to do, um,
the
to see.
scope.
Yeah, we haven't gotten takes like 3 days for them
Yeah.
to give the, quote.
Well, we can do a deep dive on Curbio if we want, and moving concierge in general again. But what's on the screen right now is just the Trackstar curriculum. So this is where you get access to the classes. So you can do them in 6 hours. There's four modules, right? 101, 2, 3, and 4. And then there's some other stuff that you can, go through to get more familiar. But all that really matters to me is that I have the certification so I can get access to the portal. And the portal is super intuitive and easy to use and fill out. So uploading an opportunity is quick and easy. So I would definitely I encourage all the agents on my team to get certified because it's free and it just gives you another opportunity or angle that you can pitch to people, right? So like I said a minute ago, this is how we talk about it, right? We have a marketplace of hedge funds, and I can get them to bid against each other for your home. What does that communicate to people? Well, most people may not necessarily know what a hedge fund is, but they understand that it's probably a large financial institution with a lot of money, right? Like BlackRock or others. So that gets their juices flowing when you say, well, we actually have a marketplace of hedge funds and a portal where we input your information about your home and we get them to bid against each other. What do they think of when you say get them to bid against each other? They think more money, right? Tamara, Trackstar is a link, and I will get it and share it in the chat once we get through these slides. So please remind me at the end because I'll stop using PowerPoint and I'll go get it for you.
I think Autumn has it.
Oh yeah, Autumn, if you don't mind sharing that link, that would be great. All right. So the best part about all this is express offers will drive more sellers into your arms for listings. That's the bottom line, right? And like I shared with you, maybe 5% of the time I'm actually closing with express offers. The other 95% of the time I'm listing the house. Can you get the Trackstar link, Autumn, for the express offer certification? I can get it now if you can't. Let me.
Gave it to
And
me.
in like just under resources, I'm sorry, I'm not sure where to what.
I have this folder of Mind Flash is what it's saved as.
The express offers link to sign up, Autumn,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
the one you gave me.
Oh, okay. Let me find that.
I'm driving or I would find it for you.
Thank you. All right, Ratasha, you have your hand up. Am I saying your name correctly?
Yeah, yeah, no, you got
Oh,
it.
good.
Okay, so
When
my question is, I've never used express offers before. So as far as for price point wise, when you're pitching it, is there a particular price point that you're doing it for?
Great question. And actually, I'm going to share my screen because it's most easily answered in their platform because what they have are buy boxes. Did you get certified yet, Ratasha?
No, but I am now. Now that I'm going
Yeah,
through
and
this.
that's totally fine because you'll learn about the buy boxes in the training. But let me just show you so you can kind of get a sense once I get logged in here. Right? So this is the platform, right? This is the one, it's actually not awaiting offers. They're awaiting me uploading the signed contract. But if I go over here, there's a link for buy boxes. So the system already knows where I'm located. And so these are the investors in my area. And I can limit it down to people that just want to buy and hold or just fix and flip, right? So if I just do fix and flip, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 12. Oh man, there's even more. But you can see like max offer 300,000. Though they're not going to buy anything in Seattle, right? Our median is 960,000. So what I can do though is I can go, oh, okay, Zoom Casa, like the one I just put in escrow, Zoom Casa actually is who bought it, and they have kind of a cool model. They have like a two-step shared equity program. So they'll buy the house and cash it out, then rehab it, and then list it back with you and give the proceeds of that increased sales price to your seller. So your seller gets a lump sum amount of money initially, and then Zoom Casa rehabs it, and then they get more money. And that's what we're doing on the one that we just got approved. So you could, let me deselect. What state are you in, Ratasha?
I'm in Florida.
Florida? All right, let's just see what you got down here. How do you spell Florida? Jesus. I need more coffee, Ratasha.
You can have mine. I'll send mine to you.
All right, thank you. I don't know, does it just refresh? Oh yeah, it already refreshed. So you've got a couple pages, right? So there's what, 12 plus another 4, 7. So you've got 19 different funds in Florida. Do you want me to pick a particular county?
Hillsboro.
Right. So now you've got 9. So out of the
Okay.
19, 9 of them will work in Hillsborough County. Max
Okay.
offer a
Nice.
million looks like the highest number.
Okay.
So you'll find as you get more and more familiar, and this has happened for me because of how many I've submitted, you start communicating with the hedge fund people directly. And like I've got one guy with one particular fund, I just call him before I ever put it in the express offers thing. I go, hey, I got this deal. They're going to want, you to deal with the trash out. The value is this, the as repaired is that. Is that something you think I should submit? And he'll say yay or nay, right? And a lot of their decision making is where's it located? Because they want to be in velocity markets. So if
Okay.
Hillsborough County is moving pretty well, you'll have better luck. But this is a whole marketing scheme, right? It's I can rehab your house without you having to pull a penny out of your pocket and get you the most amount of money, or I can bring you a cash deal and you can be down in Arizona tomorrow, right? Or next week. So if you kind of wordsmith the language, you'll have a great sort of result as a result. Um, Tamara, yes. So I think you jumped in a little bit late, but at the beginning I shared how we have a one page where we put all three scenarios side by side. Cash offer, as is on the market, as repaired on the market. So you want to get good at doing CMAs, both as is CMAs and speculative CMAs, right? And a lot of these hedge funds will actually do 70% of the as repaired. So if you can figure out a way to take this $600,000 place that's a dump up to 1,200,000, well, now you've got a hedge fund that's going to offer you 825,000 or whatever it is, right? Even though it's a dump today. That will open a lot of doors for you. So I definitely encourage you all to get certified so you can add this arrow to your quiver. If you're an archer, you'll understand that. And then I always on Fridays like to leave the last couple minutes to open it up for any dialogues. So are any of you running into a circumstance where you kind of wish you knew what I would say in that circumstance?
Yeah,
Allison, your box lit up. Did you have a question?
yeah. What you call it? Do you get, so I got the open door initial, they haven't come over yet, but they said it's 949, but then they give you a range like 875 to a million.
Yeah.
When they, and then they, if they come over and they give you the final offer and then it expires, that's when it goes to express offers and that's when everyone bids. So is that typically higher when you get the other investors? Is open door like the bottom?
I'm not a good person to ask that because Open Door is not in Washington. So
Oh,
when we log in, like when Allison logs in because she's in California, Open Door has the right of first refusal in California. In Washington, we log in and it says, "Oh, you're not eligible for Open Door," and then we go straight to the express offers. So I don't have anything to compare whether the Open Door offer is more competitive than the express offers, but you can definitely ask some agents in your area or somewhere in California that have done more of that. You can also reach out to Terrence Clark. He's easily reached through Workplace and just ask him and he'll tell you.
okay. Okay.
He's a really good guy and a really good resource. So all of you, if you're with EXP, you shouldn't be shy about reaching out to him because he's a cheerleader for us. He wants us to win, and he's hoping that by winning, we'll get more business in his book. So,
Thank
all
you.
right. Any other questions before we wrap this up?
Yeah, one more. I know that with open door, the seller pays your listing site commission and open door pays 1%. So,
No,
what happens, right? What happens with express offers?
that's a better deal because with express offers, you get paid what you negotiate with the seller. So what I have is I put language on my listing agreement that they sign even when we're still pursuing all three scenarios, I have them sign the regular MLS form, but I add language to the bottom that says seller is considering pursuing broker's express offer program. If seller chooses to go forward with the express offer at seller's sole discretion, comma, the commission will only be half, or there will only be a listing side commission, or however I want to phrase it. Like depending on what I wrote in the listing agreement, if it was a total of 6, then I would say it would only be half. Does that make sense?
And then if express offers or open door flips it, do we get the relist?
I don't know. I hope so. I would insist on it, but I don't know because Open Door doesn't operate in our market.
Okay. Well, I think
Let me know,
Open Door, they wouldn't, because I think they do it on their own. They're their own brokerage. So I think I need to talk to Terrence then.
Yeah.
I can answer that. Open Door has a platform that you can go online and put in the property. They'll arrange they'll ask you tons of questions about the property. They'll arrange the inspection, and yes, they'll allow, in Southern California, they'll allow relist with them. But Open Door is tricky because they're also a public model as well, where homeowners can reach out to Open Door directly. And they'll get more for their property, because I had one with Open Door, and I had a relatively priced aggressively because the property needed work. They gave me a valuation online, but when they did the inspection, because they're paying compensation, they really lowered what they were willing to offer for that property, right? So it was a huge difference, about $200,000 difference from what they came with their online bid to when they did their inspection. And these properties went for over 1.1 in this neighborhood. I had it listed for 975, and they thought, oh yeah, we would buy this property for right around what I had listed for, or a little bit higher. And then they came back at like 750,000. I'm like, you're crazy. That's not even close to what any investor would offer me. And then on the public model, Open Door will, if you're a consumer, reach out to them directly. Open Door loses a lot of money. They buy high. There's another property where I have listing coming up in a neighborhood up just north of me, and in Temecula, and they have one listed that they bought for. They paid the seller $1 million for this property, just right over. They listed it for $1,070,000, had to dump it down to $1,020,000. Now they're at $970,000. So they lose. They're like Zillow. Their valuations are sometimes really off if they're dealing directly with the consumer and they're selling it themselves or listing it themselves. But their margins are slim, and their MO is when they do their own flips, if they're going to be listing it on the market, what they do is they do carpet, they do flooring and paint, flooring and paint, flooring and paint. That's all they do, and they push it on the market and they try and sell it that way. Their margins are really thin, and they're like a Zillow, where Zillow got.
I have heard they're losing money. I have heard that.
Yeah.
So have you done the express offer, when that expires and it goes to the investors? Have you gone to that point?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Good feedback though, Kevin. Thank you for sharing that. All right. Well, we are at the bottom of the hour, so I am going to go ahead and call it a day. And then next week, I actually already had on the plan or the schedule to cover multiple offer scripts. And we have a whole multiple offer system that I'll run through that you guys can rip off and deploy. All right. So have a great week and go get express offers certified if you're not already.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.
If you'd like more information or to get connected to the Agent Power Huddle, join our free Facebook group. This call was designed for the agents in our EXP organization, but open to any agent from any brokerage. If you're a guest and you're interested in learning more about EXP or our specific resources within the Agent Collective, reach out to the person who invited you to this call to get more info. Produced by the Agent Collective Media Network.